action on ESPN. A showdown tonight in Houston from Tudor Fieldhouse. It's number 5 Stanford visiting the Rice Owls. Good evening, I'm Matt Peterson with Shelby Coppage. Well, Shelby, 4 years ago, Rice hosted number 3 Texas. They pulled the upset in 5 sets. How can Rice pull another upset tonight against Stanford?
Consistency. Rice is having different pin hitters step up in different matches. Head coach Jenny Volpe said tonight, I need multiple hitters in double-digit kills against Stanford. For Stanford, head coach Kevin Hambley is very pleased with his team's defense and their sweep over Texas. Something he said needs to happen tonight, especially getting touch on the blocks against the Owls.
Stanford brings a ton of talent back from last year's team that reached the Elite Eight. The 2-time All-American is back. It's Kendall Kemp.
Stanford right side Kendall Kemp, the 2022 Pac-12 Player of the Year, is trying to make it to that pro level. And Kevin Hambley said to do that, she's focusing on improving defense. She's really good at blocking and serving. She's added a lot of range and tools on the high ball. And for Rice, libero Nia McArdle has really stepped up this season. Jenny Volpe said she is one of the best liberos in the country, in her opinion. She's really strong at reading the attacker, and her range is large, and she can really dig balls behind her back.
Pre-game introductions happening here. The Owls trying to bounce back. She'll be a very rare losing streak for them. They've lost 2 straight for the first time in 2 years. 2 years ago, they started out 0-3 and really turned things around and went to the NCAA tournament. It's a very tough schedule. They go from Baylor to Stanford, and the schedule was put together by Jenny Volpe, one of the best coaches in the country. She's in year 20 at Rice.
You nailed it with the scheduling. Jenny Volpe loves to test her team right out the gates of the season. When you play teams like Stanford and Baylor, you might think you're struggling. Then when it comes to conference play, you've already had the biggest test that you could really have. So I think this is a really good mood for Jenny Volpe and her team.
She's shaking the hands of Kevin Hambley, 7th-year head coach at Stanford. He won 2 national championships back-to-back in his 2nd and 3rd years in charge. Before that was at Illinois. He took Illinois to the 2011 national championship, and he has the team back. 6 players that were named preseason All-Pac-12. He lost nobody from last year's team, that had a heartbreaking 5-set home loss in the Elite Eight to San Diego.
San Diego was that Cinderella team last season. I remember their first match against Texas A&M. Out of nowhere, how strong their hitters were, their defense. That was a team that really came around and definitely shocked Stanford last season.
Stanford went on the road. They beat Texas, last year's national champion. They swept them. They have really good all-around performance. That was a good bounce back for Stanford after a home loss to Florida.
And talking about Rice's pin hitters, Kevin Hambley said, Owls hitters are spicy. You never know who's going to turn it on at the right second. Very interested to see who comes out hot from the get-go.
Coach Volpe was honest with us. She said, we're used to winning around here. 5 straight NCAA tournaments. The 2nd round, 3 of the last 4 years. They're not really used to a slump like this, losing at home to Louisiana, going to Baylor, losing in 4, and now having Stanford on the schedule. First serve for Stanford, and Katie Baird made her season debut at Texas on Sunday and was awesome. 12 kills, hitting .458. Stanford was here 10 years ago. They beat the Owls. The Owls looking for an upset tonight. First contact from Nia McArdle. Danielle Courtley with the first swing. Back to Courtley for the tip. Excellent from Cami Minor. Off the hands, first point for Stanford. It started with Minor. That's the setter who had 10 digs Sunday in Austin.
And Ruben made the right decision going for that line shot. Those tips and rolls really weren't working. The really first hardest hit we saw of that rally, perfect shot.
Minor, first time winning Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week. She is the reigning setter of the year, one of the best setters in the country, but she can do it defensively as well. Pick that off the floor before the kill. A point for Rice. service error. We talked with Kevin Hambley earlier today about service errors. He doesn't really mind them. He wants his team to serve aggressively. Nia McCardell to serve for Rice. Fast offense from Stanford. Into the net from Rice. A point for Stanford.
Hard call to take from the Owls. Being called in the net when your libero has an amazing dip like McCardell did is never something you want to see. Something the hitters from Rice, I'm sure, will clean up pretty soon here.
Darby Harris in the game. She's a setter, but she's an excellent back row player as well. She was on the court with Izzy Rawlings, who is setting for the moment. Really good serve from Stanford. Off the video board. Courtly heavy swing, and it's a block. Sammy Francis turns away Courtly.
Beautiful block by Stanford. For the Owls, that was a very in-system play. Did hit the scoreboard, something to keep an eye out. But that coverage was there. Sometimes it's just a really good block.
Elena Ogilvy, the reigning Pac-12 setter of the year, serving. Excellent dig from the birthday girl, Sahara Maraska. And a point for Rice. Danielle Courtly.
Courtly not scared of Ogilvy whatsoever, placing that ball in the perfect spot, that seam between left back and middle back. Ogilvy doing her best, but it was just that great of a hit.
Izzy Rawlings, the senior, at one point called the swag player for Coach Volpe a couple years ago, and it's a battle for the setter position between Izzy Rawlings and Darby Harris, and a really good performance at Baylor this weekend as Rice lost in 4 and Rawlings had a good night. Here's Kip back to serve. Fifth-year senior, won the national championship as a freshman in 2019.
And the missed serves are something to keep an eye out for Stanford. Kevin Hambley said, I really don't mind we missed a ton of serves. There was one match where his team missed 7 serves in one set and still won the whole match. He said, look, if you're serving tough, you're going to get those aces. Don't serve easy and let them get a 3-option pass, keep the ball going.
A lot of service errors at Texas on Sunday morning, and they still pulled off a sweep. Fast offense there with Izzy Rawlings, but it's a point for Rice. They did not get the middles going last week against Louisiana. It looks like Rawlings is trying to get Kostelecki and company involved.
And Rawlings moving the ball around, seeing a little miscommunication at that left front spot. Probably not going to be open this next time again, but great vision on her end.
Freshman Campbell Love back to serve out of Trophy Club, Texas, and she has an ace.
On Stanford is exactly how you grab the momentum, which Rice has to do early if they want to win in front of their home crowd.
Off the tape, a service error makes it 5-5. Really impressive what Stanford did on Sunday against the defending national champion. Sold out arena, and they went on the road. They pulled off the sweep. They did it with serving, they did it with hitting, they did it with an excellent serve receive game. Really an all-around performance from Stanford. There's an ace. Aaliyah Rubin, the junior middle blocker, another preseason all Pac-12 pick.
Interesting decision by Rubin going for McCardell. It worked out this time. I don't think McCardell is going to get ace twice in a row.
Service error. They continue to try and serve aggressively here in set 1.
And there's good errors, there's bad errors. That serve was a good service error, trying to go really deep, test that libero from the chest up. Just a little too much power.
Fifth-year senior, Satasha Kostelecki. Coach Volpe told us how pleased they were when she decided to come back. Several players with decisions using that COVID year. She's done it. She is so big at the net defensively for Rice. Slide play. Pancake kept off the floor. Good work there from Veska. Through the hands. And a kill for Katie Baird. She had her first game back of the season on Sunday at Texas. It seemed like she never missed a beat. 12 kills, hit .458 after missing the first 3 matches. Anna Pringle into serve, sophomore defensive specialist from La Jolla. Rice out of sync. The set went to the far side with Cindy Changwa, a very talented freshman from nearby Katy, Texas, and Tompkins High School. Anna Pringle back to serve. Through the hands, and a point for Stanford. Good work from Baird.
A free ball is nothing you ever want to give Stanford, and it all starts with that serve receive. You see the Owls huddle in together, because when you do not give your setter a 3-option pass, this hit is what happens from Stanford. You got to get them out of system if you're the Owls.
Baird, 5th-year senior, was a champion with the Cardinal in 2019. And there's a stuffed block from Baird. So a kill and an ensuing point. Baird with the block, the all-around player. Is such a big part of this Stanford team. Second game of the season tonight for Baird. Rice out of system there. And a timeout for Jenny Volpe. Stanford on a bit of a scoring run up, stretched the lead to 5. And this is when that aggressive serving continues to pay off.
This timeout by Jenny Volpe was the best decision. Get her team calm, break that serve, ice Stanford. And right now, Stanford's really going for Nia McArdle and those teams. They're not really trying to avoid the libero. I think they're trying to maybe get in her head a little bit, and it's working so far. Rice got to come down. And it's so important to get that 3-option pass, because you have to get Stanford out of system.
Rice beat USC opening weekend. USC was number 22 at the time, and Coach Volpe said she was so pleased with McArdle taking charge and serve receive with over 30 first contacts as Rice beat USC. Stanford again, the unanimous preseason favorite in the Pac-12. And won 11 of the last 17 Pac-12 championships. And a very tough loss last year, as you mentioned, against San Diego. They led 23-22 in set 4, leading 2-1. With a berth in the Final Four on the line. They couldn't close out USD. They lost in 5. Coach Kevin Hambley said it was the second hardest loss of his career. The only one that was more difficult was with Illinois National Championship 2011, the loss to UCLA. After the timeout, Cardell takes charge. Good swing, Veska. Changwa blocks. McKenna Vicini.
The Stanford block is unmatched right now. Right to your screen, look at the hands pressing back over to the Owl side. There's no way that ball was crossing any of those Stanford hands.
Tammy Miner so good at the net, helping out Vicini on the block. Stanford's serve is on point here in set 1.
Great hustle by libero McArdle. For the Owls, make sure that you know if the ball's going to enter out. Stanford's going really deep right now. You have to react quickly, but if that ball's above your weight, let it go out.
Anna Pringle back to serve. Kenobi turned away. Veska blocks. Good joust from Kenobi. Chip off the hands. Changwa up from Kip. Great rally here at 13-6, and it's a point for Rice.
Great hustle on both sides of the net right now. Rice doing a good job at covering their hitters against Stanford. And Stanford just doing what they do, going all out. Not able to keep the ball in play, but that hustle is there.
Transfer from UFC, Amelia Veska, out of Potsdam, Germany. A huge pickup for Rice this offseason. Beautiful disguising from the setter, Cami Minor, the All-American, with the kill.
That deep serve from Cami Minor was something she was not afraid to use against Texas, and it worked out almost every time for her. Something the Owls have to pay attention to.
First team All-American last year, the setter of the year in the Pac-12. She led the country, 11.4 assists per set. And if you look at the all-time numbers for Stanford, great program, great history, 9 national championships. She's 4th all-time with 11.5 assists per set. Slide play for Kenobi.
Textbook play from Rice, and it all started with that 3-option pass in serve receive, allowing their setter to run their slide hitter, doing a great job at finding the hand. Izzy Rawlings going behind her head, perfect in system play.
One of the new arrivals from SMU, Caitlin Kenobi, something Coach Volpe talked to us about is just the new players figuring out the rhythm. It's early this season. The coaches have always told us only a 2-week preseason. This is still early days for this volleyball season. Portley with the tip. Good pickup from Nia Micardo. Kip. Portley off the hands. Rice gaining momentum here in set 1.
Nice position by Danielle Portley to use the hands of Stanford. Taking a little off, trying to reach those fingertips and find that hole in the court. Not easy to do.
It's her birthday tonight, the 5th-year senior from Houston, went to St. Agnes Academy. Sahara Maruska with the service error. And just like Kevin Hambly at Stanford, Coach Volpe wants her team to serve aggressively. You'll live with some of those service errors. Katie Baird, 3-time All-American, 9th all-time at Stanford, 3.8 kills per set in her career. Smash from Danielle Portley.
Perfect connection between Danielle Portley and Izzy Rawlings. Look how low this set is. Izzy Rawlings forcing the 3, forcing Stanford to try and close that block, nowhere open.
Nia Micardo back to serve for Rice. First contact from Ogilvie. Was it touched? It was touched. It's a point for Stanford.
And Rice looking for that touch. I personally definitely thought there was a touch right of your screen. See if this touches the Rice hitter's hands, and if the ball moves afterwards. Okay, it didn't look like the ball moved right there, but live, I did think there was a touch.
And Rice will challenge this. It seemed like it hit the hand of Izzy Rawlings, who was blocking at the pin. 2 challenges. You only lose a challenge if you're unsuccessful. As Kevin Hambly looks at his team, and they were so disappointed with the performance against Florida at home. You hit 333 as a team. You hit over 400 in 2 sets, and you get swept at home. And he pointed to the defense and the effort against Florida.
I'm not sure if the ball changes directions after the alleged touch by Rice. Initially, I did think Stanford touched the hand, but sometimes the coaches can't even see what goes on. That's when they trust their floor players to go to the coach, communicate, and say, please call this. I did not touch it. Could go either way right now. And this is something to look out for, is this fast tempo offense that Rice is trying to run. Kevin Hambly said that's what they're preparing for. And talking with him this week when we said, Coach, you must be feeling pretty good after your match against Texas. He said, I'm on to Rice. You're only as good as your next match.
Well, Rice played Baylor in the NCAA tournament 2nd round last year. It went 5 sets in Waco, 15-11 in the 5th. Rice just a few points away from getting to the Sweet 16. A lot of respect between the 2 programs, as Coach Volpe uses this as a virtual timeout. But they really bounced back well after falling behind. Since the timeout, they played much better.
I need to give credit to libero Nia McArdle. She is doing such a great job at adjusting her server speed and also defending her hitters in the coverage.
A successful challenge for Rice. Well, initially it was given to Rice, and now they reversed the call. Some confusion from the officials with Jenny Volpe. They're initially pointing towards Rice's side. It is a point for Stanford.
And for Rice, you can be frustrated, but you have to let it go. Right when that serve happens, you got to move on to the next point.
Elena Ogilvy, senior libero from Honolulu. Third most digs per set in Stanford history. The libero of the year last year in the Pac-12. Portland. Kostelecki to the 10-foot line.
Kostelecki with the kill, but Maruska did such a good job at getting this dig, pointing her shoulders back to target. Look at that ball, right in Izzy Rawlings' hands. Amazing defense from middle back.
We asked Coach Volpe about Izzy Rawlings. Coach Volpe said she's the starting setter, she's the senior, she's been there before, as has Natasha Kostelecki. Solo block from the fifth-year senior.
Suffocating block by Natasha Kostelecki, and that timing was everything. Stanford not ready whatsoever for coverage.
Sammy Francis turned away. Just over the libero's reach, Nia McArdle. And a good swing from Elia Rubin. One of 6 preseason all Pac-12 picks on the Stanford Cardinal. Rubin, 14 kills, hitting .500 Sunday at Texas. Kip serves. It's an ace. Courtly, good effort right in front of us. Both she and Rawlings going for it. Kendall Kip out of Newport Beach, went to Corona Del Mar High School. Some call her the heir apparent on the right side of the national team. Kip from the back row. Too heavy with the swing.
A Kip from the back row is exactly what Kevin Hambley said my team brings. When they have 6 rotation players like Kip, there's so much defense from the back to the front, they're suffocating to their opponent. And even though she hit it out, that's an adjustment that she can easily fix.
Campbell Love back to serve. 18-13 Stanford here in set 1. Nice pickup, but a nice dump from Izzy Rawlings.
Izzy Rawlings, Jenny Volpe's swag player, doing a great job at finding that hole in the middle of the court against Stanford. The hole's always open. Usually the wings come in and get the dig.
Love serves again. Slide play. Good pickup from Nia McArdle. Good read from Love. It's actually in. Rice thought it was out. The down official calls in.
Beautiful swing by Rubin. Look how she just snaps her arm. And that was great placement. Rice wanting it to be called out, but right on the line in front of the left back. Nice job.
Hit .500 on Sunday, matching her best career percentage. Angled swing. That's hard to stop from Katie Baird. Timeout Rice. 6-point lead for Stanford.
And Rice has done a much better job at answering Stanford's aggressive serving, mainly because of Nia McArdle. She's being stopped in her base. Her shoulders are face to target. She's not shanking or moving her arms the last second. And when the Owls can be insistent, that's their best chance against Stanford because Stanford's serve is on. They're not getting as many digs as they probably like to be getting, but they're doing a really good job of placing that ball, especially on the pins right now.
Well, we had a good conversation this week with Kevin Hambley. Always appreciate the coach's time. We asked about 7 starters coming back, 6 of those preseason all Pac-12. We asked, was there any tough decisions in the group? He said none whatsoever, no drama. He said really once COVID hit and the players knew they'd have the extra year, each of these seniors knew they would come back, trying to finish what they started for a few of them 4 years ago as freshmen in 2019.
And he said that. Kevin Hambley said these players this season have much different personalities than he's ever coached before. He said it's 100% different personalities to mentality than when his team last won the national championship. He said he loved working with these players.
And they talked about the spring. Really, this spring was the first time no interruptions. Really a chance to get back into the gym as a team, and with all this talent coming back. They swept Texas, only using 8 players on Sunday. This is a deep Stanford team, but when you're playing as well as they did on Sunday in Austin, you only have to go 8 deep. Veska off the hands. Good swing from the back row from Elia Rubin.
And there's that back row attack that Kevin Hambley prides his team on. Rubin doing a really good job at reaching high and going for those corners.
Rubin, all Pac-12 freshman team last year. Part of the U21 national team. Won gold in Mexico last year. Service error, a side out for Rice. Kostelecki from Decatur, Texas, went to Cinco Ranch High School, a pipeline from that school. One of Rice's all-time greats, Nicole Lennon and Danielle Courtley, all came out of Cinco Ranch. Back-to-back service errors, one from each side. And here comes Anna Pringle. She was one of the 8 that played on Sunday in the sweep at Texas. Went to Cathedral Catholic High School in La Jolla. There's the slide. Nice pancake from McCardell, but actually it hit the floor. She tried her best. An off-swing swing that time for McKenna Vicini.
And McCardell doing a good job at reading this ball. Left to your screen, it does touch the ground, but that effort's there. And sometimes you just gotta act and go for it and hope for the best.
Vicini, part of the 2019 national championship team, back for her 5th season. Overpass, and the first to react is Cami Minor. She's a setter, but she's so good at the net on those overpasses.
That overpass error by the Owls is something that could absolutely not be a part of this match if they're going to have a chance in winning against Stanford, because that's really giving them a free ball. And Rice has not been doing that. I don't think they'll continue to do it either.
Anna Pringle back to serve. Tight pass. Rice out of system, but they get the point. It was touched on its way out.
Rice doing good things in out-of-system plays. Left at your screen. Sean did a really good job at reading the hitters in front of her, going away from the hands, and nowhere near Cami Minor.
Lilia Veska back to serve. Highly sought by multiple programs around the country, according to Coach Volpe. She chose Rice. She wanted a master's from a high academic school. Education is important to her. Serving here on set point for Stanford. Kick from the back row, up from McCardell. Tip picked up by Veska. There's a block. And Rice saves off another set point. The block from the newcomer, Caitlin Kenobi.
Rice with the point, and I'm going to give the MVP at that point to Nia McCardell. Great defense, going all out on her side of the court, able to keep her team in play.
Good read at the last moment from Kenobi. Jump serve, Veska. Excellent pickup, Ogilvy. Off the hand, Stanford takes set one. Katie Baird closes out the first set for the Cardinal. Stanford off a sweep in Austin. Down the road here in Houston, a good start against the Rice Owls. Number 5, Stanford takes set one, 25-17. Set 4, set 2 from Tudor Fieldhouse. Matt Peterson with Shelby Coppage. And the band is in the house. Bit of a late arriving crowd, but the students have shown up. A good atmosphere here on a Tuesday night.
There's nothing better than a packed house here at Tudor Field, cheering on the amazing Owls, taking on the incredible Stanford team. I love seeing the Tudor section here.
The defense for Stanford continues to be the story. They went to Texas on Sunday. Texas led the country, hitting efficiency last year 336, and they only hit 130 against the Stanford Cardinal. Rice similarly very efficient last year, but in set one, Shelby, they hit just 069 in a Stanford first set victory.
Even though Rice hit below 100, it really didn't feel like that. I think Stanford did a really good job at getting a lot of digs, but Rice did too. And Mia McCardle, their libero for Rice, is going off right now. I think Stanford's going to stop picking on her and serve receive the second set.
We talked with Coach Volpe a few weeks ago. Right at the start of the season, we went category by category. How are you as a serving team? Serve, receive, at the net, hitting, etc. Defense, overall for this team, she says, I would play our defense with anyone in the country. It's a very good defense. Their consistency on that side of the court is what they need tonight. 15 digs, 1 block in that first set against Stanford. Maraska with the serve to start set 2. And a good start for Stanford.
Stanford doing a good job at picking out the flaws in the Owls defense. Right now, Owls aren't doing too good of a job at picking up those tips, everything right over the block. Expect Stanford to keep going for it.
Elia Rubin, Katie Baird, both with 4 kills in the first set. Good first contact there from McCardell. And it leads to a kill from Danielle Courtland.
Another in-system play for Rice, again, starting with that serve receive. So important to give Izzy Rawlings a 3-option pass, able to run that quick tempo offense Jenny Volpe wants to find her team in.
McCardell back to serve, grew up down the road in Missouri City, Ridge Point High School. She serves into the net for a service error. Kendall Kipp, a quiet start. No kills on 9 swings with 1 error. But a 3-time All-American. She's back to serve. Courtley. Too long with her angled swing. We have a good view of it, Shelby. Stanford continues to serve tough. Here's Kendall Kipp. Slide play. Kostelecki blocked. Kipp from the back row. Courtley. Another dig from Mia McCardell. And off the face of Maraska. And Sammy Francis with her first kill tonight.
Beautiful kill by Sammy Francis. It's all in that footwork. Look at the timing right of your screen. Francis finding that perfect set. Only 1 blocker on her. Great in-system play with her setter.
And back to serve, Sammy Francis, the junior from San Diego. Overpass from Maraska, picked up by Courtley. Block, Satasha Kostelecki combining with the setter, Izzy Rawlings.
Cami Minor really trying to speed up her offense right now, forcing her pins with this low set. Look how low the set is. That's really forcing her outside. Elia Rubin to speed up the approach, but that block for the Owls was just so on point and had great timing.
Izzy Rawlings, now the starting setter. Courtney off the hands. Good play spin in the back row there from Elia Rubin.
Good job by Rubin. And it starts with that touch on the block. Stanford not able to get the block, but Kevin Hambley said the touches are just as important. Have to slow the point down, able to open up their pin.
Rubin, the 2021 Gatorade California Player of the Year. Right through the middle, Sahara Maruska, good first pass for Maruska.
Great play by Maruska, only having one blocker on her, forcing the all-star Stanford libero to get on the ground, not able to get that seam.
Campbell Love back to serve at Byron Nelson High School. Won a 6A state title in Texas as a sophomore. Stanford trying its side of the court. Stanford hitting 316 for the first two sets. Rice hit 103. Diggs about even. 19 for the Owls, 18 for the Cardinal. Slide play, really can't slow that down when Stanford is in system with Sammy Francis.
Sammy Francis will not be stopped on this slide, especially with only one blocker up against her. I thought she was going to go cross, went down that line, forced libero to get on the ground. Great eye by her.
Missed a lot of time with injury last year, and Coach Hambley told us we want Sammy to become a major weapon on that right side. Veska through the block. Veska combining for the block with Koselecki.
Stanford looking a little out of system in this play right here, but they're that team that has that short-term memory. They get over plays and move on to the next very quickly.
Koselecki back to serve. Back row attack from the All-American Kendall Kemp.
It doesn't get more powerful than this back row attack from Kendall Kemp. Look how high she gets. Let's do your screen. Watch her fly. And then that arm swing, literally coming down as hard as she can, reaching and placing that ball to the left back spot.
Perfect offense, Shelby. You had McKenna Vicini running to the net to kind of keep the blockers honest. Good up from Love. Through the middle, Kenobi. Rice shows it has a fast offense at times.
Jenny Volpe wants to run a fast offense. She said it's so important that we find our identity this season in that fast tempo offense at the front.
Amelia Veska really became hooked to the decision to transfer to Rice after her initial visit. Veska from the back row. Excellent pickup from Ogilvy. Libero showing off here at 7-5. Nice set. McKenna Vicini, she's known more for her defense, but she has the 5th best hitting percentage in Stanford history at 371.
And Vicini's so good at floating in the air and scoring in the gap, going for not just the corner, but that seam between left back and middle back.
8 blocks, a season high Sunday at Texas for McKenna Vicini. They run the slide for Kenobi. She's had a good night tonight.
Kayla Kenobi's trying to find that slide with her setter, Izzy Rawlings, and they're doing a great job connecting. That's the last thing that happens, that setter-middle connection, because that tempo, the footwork, everything has to go right.
Caitlin Kenobi 3 kills on 5 swings yet to error. Kenobi, Kostelecki, Courtley, 3 kills each for Rice. Maruska serves. Courtley, good improvisation there from the outside hitter, setting it off the hands.
I did not see that kill coming. Rice very out of system. Courtley going for the two-handed tip, but it was all about that placement, really trying to barely touch Stanford's fingertips. Great play.
Maruska serves. Deep serve and a good read in the back row for Katie Baird. Sammy Francis returns to the front row for Stanford. Cardinal hitting .298 with 4 blocks, 23 digs. Ogilvy with the serve. Ogilvy picks it up in the back row. Tip from Kip, pancake from McKenna. Both teams scrambling. Coach Volpe off the bench, encouraging her team after that hustle.
Great play by both ends of the net, and the liberos are going all out. Ogilvy is doing such a good job matching McCardle's effort.
McCardle already has 10 digs. Ogilvy has 8, and she serves here. There's an ace. Went right at Danielle Courtley.
Perfect ace for Ogilvy. Keeping the ball away from the libero, making this nice deep floater. Right at the chest, doesn't get much better than that.
That's 4 service aces for Stanford here in the first 2 sets. Maruska from the back row, slightly out on the near sideline. And the call changed to a Rice Owl point.
Nice kill by Maruska. Her approach is so fast, if you blink, you might miss it. She's really strong and quick and reaches really high.
Just 5'8", but very athletic with some great leaping ability. McCardle serves. A point for Rice, slightly out. She went for the back corner. Really good first contact there from Katie Baird. She went low and gave her setter a chance. Rice hanging around in set 2, but a service error from McCardle. 7 service errors in the first 2 sets for Rice.
What's killing Rice right now is the side out percentage. They're siding out 45%, while Stanford is 69. That's a big difference in service speed.
Kip serves. Into the tape. Rawlings back to serve. Earned the starting position for the game at Baylor. They're trying to replace Carly Graham. 3-time Conference USA Setter of the Year. One of the best setters in program history. Kip from the back row. Up from McCardle. And Stanford into the net. It's a point for Rice.
That kick from McCardle does not get any better. Look how stopped she was. Her platform facing back to target. Everything in system, even on a lethal hit from Stanford.
Izzy Rawlings went to John Paul II High School in Plano.
McCardle already has 11 digs of the match. Ogilvy's second in the gym for the most with 8.
There's a nice dump. She disguised it so well. The All-American, Cami Minor.
If you're a blocker against Cami Minor, she's at the front. You have to read her shoulders. And even sometimes jump with her. She's so good at going past the front row and getting kills of her own.
From Redondo Beach, California, Redondo Union High School. She has 3 double-doubles already this season. All those assists in 3 different games with 10 digs. Really good set 2 inside Tudor Fieldhouse. Campbell Love back to serve. Rice's hitting percentage slowly creeping up. It's at 173. It was sub 100 in set one. And there's a big-time block from Sammy Francis against the freshman Cindy Chongwa.
Chongwa doing her best, but when you're Sammy Francis and to have that 6'6" reach, there's sometimes not much you can do but trust your defense to try and get that second touch.
Anna Pringle. Played all but one set this season for Stanford. Jessica, the USC transfer with the big swing.
This is so powerful. Jenny Volpe said the biggest thing she brings is maturity to her team. An easy decision for her going through that split in the block, something you don't see often from Stanford.
Spent the summer with the German national team in the under-23s. Good offense once again. They go back to Katie Baird, three-time All-American, number 9 all-time on Stanford's illustrious list, 3.8 kills per set in her career. We have a good one in set 2. Stanford took set 1. It's 15-13 Cardinal in set 2. Stanford leading 1-0. Kevin Hambly in his 7th year, National Coach of the Year in 2011, 2-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. We had a good conversation with him about coaching Stanford student athletes, similar at Rice, and they're really good at compartmentalizing practice time, gym time, and being a student athlete, getting ready for midterms and classes. Out of the timeout, 15-13 Stanford. Hit on the angled swing. Averaging 5.1 kills per set, Kendall Kipp. And Kemi Minor back to serve. Her dad, a great basketball player. One of the best ever at USC, Harold Minor. National Player of the Year in 1992 with the Trojans. Fast offense again from the Owls. And it's the SMU transfer, Caitlin Kenobi, with her team leading 5th kill on 7 swings.
Great connection with Caitlin Kenobi and Izzy Rawlings, finding that quick tempo that Jenny Volpe wants to find so badly.
We talked with Coach Volpe about the setters, Izzy Rawlings, Darby Harris. She says they are putting in the work, the extra time, working with the hitters, and is showing tonight against Stanford. Ruska. Solo block from Kenobi. Turned away Elia Rubin, who came from the back row.
Suffocating block for Stanford. Kenobi doing such a good job at reading that back row player one-on-one. Even her arms were a little behind the net, but she did a really good job timing that block.
3 blocks and 5 kills for Caitlin Kenobi. Kipp. An important swing there for Stanford as Rice was just a point away from tying things up.
Caitlin Kipp just reaches so high. Left of your screen. Look where she makes contact. Have that ball flies right in the middle of the seam. So hard to get up.
Kipp, 3 kills on 18 swings. Stanford hitting 288s. Katie Baird back to serve. Deep serve, slightly long. Good read by Nia Micardo. Sahara Maruska, St. Giannis Academy right here in Houston. A different sound coming off her hand, according to head coach Jenny Volpe. Oh, really good offense. It was a good serve, but a good first contact from Elena Ogilvie.
A good contact by Ogilvie, but Vicini doing such a good job at going for the corners, avoiding the hands in front of her, and almost floating to the left, doing such a good job at finding the ball in the air.
Ogilvie serves. A slide for Kenobi. Rubin. Courtly through the hands. Fourth kill for Danielle Courtly tonight.
Great dig in the back on Maraska, able to let her setter Izzy Rawlings find that fast set to the outside. Great instant play. And right to your screen, Stanford's block looked great. The hands were set, the shoulders were touching, but the pins for the Owls did a really good job of going around the hands right now.
As Coach Volpe told us, Shelby Coppin, she wants all of her attackers kind of clicking at once. They're doing that. Kenobi has 5 kills. Courtly has 4. Kostelecki with 3. Veska chipping in as well. Throughout this season, it seems like 1 or 2 is on, but seldom 3 or 4 at the same time. They might get that tonight against Stanford.
And what better time to step up and share the wealth as much as when you're playing one of the top teams in the country.
Rice hitting 286 in set 2. 10 kills on 28 swings with only 2 errors. Float serve from Ricardo. Chip off the hands. She's going to get going here in set 2. 4 kills for Kendall Kipp. As Coach Hambly told us, the next step for Kendall Kipp is becoming a great out-of-system attacker with great range. Point Rice.
Stanford with an error that doesn't happen too often, coming from the back row. Rice will take it though. Rice trying to keep the ball and serving as long as possible.
19-18 Stanford, set 2. Izzy Rawlings serves. Stanford out of system, it's off the video board. Good serve from Rawlings. Ogilvy, one of the best passers in the country, had trouble with that serve.
Kendall was a little frustrated that her second touch went off the board. It's an adjustment that Stanford has to be conscious of with the ceiling being touched.
They go back to Ogilvy, an overpass. And Courtly a little long as she tried to go to the front row. It's a big point for Stanford.
That point was given to Rice on a platter, and Courtly making the decision to go too far off, trying to do the swipe, just take a little more off, and that would have been a kill.
Elia Rubin from Brentwood, California. Good hands from Ruska. Courtly with the swing. Tight pass. And a point for Rice.
Rice is doing a really good job at serving very hard at Stanford right now. That's going to be a key to try and get Stanford out of system.
Campbell Love, the freshman defensive specialist, serves. Slide play. She has been money with that all night at Sammy Francis.
Sammy Francis this season had a match where she hit 440, and Kevin Hambly said, I want her to carry an even bigger load than this. She's so confident. She reaches high. She knows her hits. She's a really great player.
Sammy Francis, 4 kills on 9 swings, only 1 error. Float serve. Ricardo first touch. And there's a block. Excellent work. McKenna Vicini combining with Katie Baird.
Katie Baird giving her team all the momentum. Left of your screen. Look at those hands. Look how high she reaches. That timing, the placement, making sure nothing will happen.
Second game of the season for Katie Baird. 5th-year senior from Indianapolis. Both she and Kendall Kipp are human biology majors. Baird, a 3-time All-American. And the table is set for Stanford this year. Everyone back from last year's team, a heartbreaking loss at home in 5 sets to San Diego. In the tournament last year, they had San Diego on the ropes, leading 23-22 and leading 2 sets to 1. But a good fight back from the Toreros and a devastating loss, and really from that moment, everyone around the program says Stanford was motivated to make this season special.
And Kevin Hambley and Jenny Volpe have known each other for a while. Very small industry in coaching college volleyball. They worked some camps together. Kevin Hambley said he really respects her. She's an amazing coach. A lot of good things they both said about one another.
Yeah, he told us he'd love to do a tournament featuring some of the high academic institutions, including Rice and Stanford, Northwestern, Duke, among others.
If they're going to do that tournament, Matt, they need a trivia tournament too while we're at it. We got all these 4.0 students. Let's see what they got.
And I think for both Rice and Stanford, high achievers on both teams. That was the description from Kevin Hambley of his Stanford players. Expect to achieve a lot on and off the court. Maruska, an important swing after the stoppage off the hands.
Mariska's approach is feisty, right to your screen. Look how fast she runs her offense, and that snap in her swing, her arm moves so fast, she is lethal when she's on.
So Tasha Kostelecki serves. Veska off the hands. Stanford a little out of system, and Rice is pulled even 22-22 in set 2.
Rice did a really good job at playing confident against Stanford, and Stanford looking very out of system, not able to get that ball over from Rubin. An error she probably will not make again tonight.
Kostelecki, third year as the starting middle, fifth year with Rice. Kip from the back row, off the tape.
Kendall Kipp looked mad in that approach. She meant all business, left to your screen. Look how high she gets, and look where she lands. She lands almost at the front of the net. That's how lethal and explosive her approach is.
4 different Stanford hitters have 5 kills here tonight. Veska, aim for that back corner. And now set point for Stanford, but not before a timeout for Coach Volpe and Rice.
Rice has done such a good job fighting to be in this position in set 2. And it's hard for a team to see them make an error going line trying to hit a shot, but credit to Rice in staying aggressive at the front.
Stanford hitting 265, Rice at 138. Rice trying to regroup on that sideline before set point.
Everything, it's almost pretty even, at least defensively. Stanford has 17 digs so far in this set, and Rice has 15. It's just that hitting percentage that's really hurting Rice right now. They're hitting 171 while Stanford's about that, in that 250 range all match, really.
Jenny Volpe, 20th year at Rice, 378 wins, most in program history, best win percentage as well. 8 NCAA tournaments after a career as a setter at Texas A&M. Stanford's ready to go on set point with Cami Minor.
And for Stanford, Kevin Hambley said we have to come out swinging as hard as possible, especially take that aggressiveness in the serve. Doesn't matter if it's set point or the first point, he wants the same aggressiveness the whole match.
Set point in set 2 for Stanford. Cami Minor serves. Maruska, excellent dig in the back row from Rubin. Maruska off the hands, 2 heavy swings on her birthday.
Keep beating the birthday girl. Maruska is on right now. Going with the hands of Stanford, trying to get this touch, making it impossible for that cross shot to get picked up.
Maresca's 5'8", Kip 6'5". Maresca not intimidated. Kip angled swing, McCardell off the net. Another dig from Nia McCardell. Up from Vesca.
Defense we are seeing from Rice. McCardell doing such a good job at keeping her team in the play. All out hustle from the Owls right now.
Ogilvy first touch. Near the video board. Maresca trying to stop. And back to Stanford for another set point. Katie Baird back to serve. Had a bit of a slump last year. Coach Hambly said her arm swing was funky. She's back and rolling again in her 5th season at Stanford. And it's an ace! The service ace delivers set 2 for Stanford. Katie Baird ends set 2.
Katie Baird going right for libero of Rice, who has done such a good job giving 3 option passes. Not able to get a good pass from that serve receive. McCardell did a great job this whole set though. Katie Baird though, that aggressiveness in the back row is just unstoppable sometimes.
Really entertaining set 2. Stanford takes it 26-24. Good resiliency from Rice. They staved off multiple set points. 25-17 in set 1, 26-24 in set 2. Stanford number 5 in the country and looking for its 2nd win in Texas this week. Intermission from Tudor Fieldhouse. Stanford leads Rice 2-0. 2-0. Stanford over Rice. Really entertaining set 2, 26-24. As Stanford takes set 2. Hello again, Matt Peterson with Shelby Coppage. Rice really fought hard. Stanford had to earn set 2.
Rice fought hard and Stanford did as well. Both teams hit under 200, but it didn't feel like that. Each team had 19 digs. The defense in this match is incredible right now. It's going to come down to who can finally outbeat each other on the offense.
We look at some highlights from the first 2 sets. Stanford a big win at Texas on Sunday. Rice looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. And both teams very effective at the net early on.
Both teams are doing a really good job at spreading the ball out. We're seeing a lot of kills take place either right over the block or in that seam between left back and middle back. And everyone is getting this all-out effort, especially libero for Rice. McCardell doing such a great job at getting touches, pancakes, digs. And Stanford is serving hard. They are coming at Rice from the throw. When it comes to serve receive, doing a really good job at staying aggressive. Kevin Hambly said he's okay with his team missing some serves, but the defense right now is just on fire on both sides.
A dominant first set for Stanford, a much more competitive second set. Rice pulled even at 24-24, but Stanford showed its maturity and experience closing it out with 2 straight points.
Something for Rice to keep an eye on this 3rd set is that back row attack for Stanford. That's something that Kevin Hambly prides his team on, is how they use the back row as another attack position, and that's something we've seen a lot tonight. Owls doing a good job picking up the ball. Interested to see, though, if Stanford uses that weapon more. Stanford
continues to just shut teams down. They held Texas to 130 hitting efficiency on Sunday. Rice at 113. Digs about even, blocks about even, 6-5 in favor of Stanford. The efficiency of Stanford is hard to slow down. so many different players can beat you. Sunday at Texas, Kip had 15 kills, hitting .343. Baird, 12 kills, hitting .458. A lot of options for the All-American setter, Tammy Miner.
And Owls are not playing scared whatsoever. From the first set, they came in very confident. A little shaky in serve receive, maybe the first 3 or 4 points, and after that, cleaned it up. A lot of 3-option passes. Izzy Rawlings doing a good job at running that fast tempo offense, spreading the ball out. Would like to see the middles get a little more involved in this third set, and that's going to come with those good passes.
This is a veteran team that has been tested 5 straight NCAA tournaments, second round 3 of the last 4 years. They beat Texas in this gym 4 years ago. They beat Texas in Austin in the last few years as well. Stanford, the latest big team to come in here to Tudor Fieldhouse. A very motivated Stanford team.
There's a lot of parity right now too. Stanford did sweep Texas, but before that, Florida swept Stanford in their own gym. It's really that saying that anybody can be anybody on any given day.
Yeah, Coach Kevin Hambly told us a lot of young teams, and he said the volleyball is going to look a lot better in a month or two. Once these teams have more experience. It's difficult, Shelby. You're a former libero. Only 2 weeks of preseason before these matches count.
You have to get your legs ready, get back in the swing of things fast.
Baird begins set 3 for Stanford. Slide play for Kenobi. She has been awesome tonight. 6 kills on 10 swings.
Great slide by Kenobi, doing a really good job connecting with her setter, Izzy Rawlings. Everything's looking great. And they're running their offense so fast that Stanford's not able to close the block, and that's why the slide is working for Rice right now.
Rubin with the tip. Flying for the pickup, Darby Harris. Harris was the setter to start the season. She just edged out Izzy Rawlings, but the good news for her, when she's not setting, she can still be a big back row player. Darby Harris, number 11 in gray. Izzy Rawlings, the setter now, number 3 for the Rice Owls. Nia McCardle, what a night she has had. You played the position. Fun to watch Nia McCardle when she's playing like she is tonight. Tip from Rubin. There's an All-American swing from Kendall Kipp.
Perfect line shot by Kendall Kipp, not scared of Nia McCardle. And McCardle was in the right position. The issue was she moved her arm at the last second. That's not something she usually does.
Kipp on pace for a double-double, 6 kills, 8 digs tonight. Elena Ogilvie with an ace. Beautiful serve right between Nia McCardle and Sahara Maraska.
Beautiful ace by Ogilvie. Kevin Hambly said that she'll mix in a floater, but then a side spin serve. This serve right here is not something you see often in college volleyball. Really aggressive.
One of the best passers in the country. Slightly too long with that serve. Ogilvie working on covering more ground and taking up more space for Katie Baird. Harris checks out for Rice. The German Amelia Veska returns. Rawlings serves. That's a really good second contact for Stanford. They seemed out of system, but it's another point for the Cardinal. Kendall Kipp back to serve. Good hands from Ogilvie. Courtney found the seam.
Corley playing really aggressive this third team. We saw a couple tips and dunks earlier in the match. Right now, she's looking really confident moving the ball around the court.
She's had the most swings tonight for Rice. 21 attacks for Danielle Courtney. She's up to 5 kills. Ricardo read that well. Maresca. Rubin with the tip. Veska down the line.
Olivia looking a little frustrated. She did all the work in the right position. She was on the line shot. Right to your screen, black jersey, Old Libby. She moves her arms last second. That's not something she ever really does. That's an adjustment she'll fix.
Rubin pushed it off the block. Smart play from the veteran, Elia Rubin. Coach Hambly talked to us about Rubin's decision-making as an attacker. Very good decisions on Sunday in Texas. That was a good decision at the net for Rubin. Veska, a mistake. Rice out of system. And Rubin back to serve. Coach Hambly says Elia Rubin has a big heart. She has to play different. Service error.
It was really interesting to me talking to Kevin Hambly before the match and how he talked about that he's okay with his players missing a lot of serves as long as they're aggressive. And I joked, oh, okay, well, coach, well, do you tell your players that? He said, yeah, I do. I want them to see that it's okay to miss serves because you'll still win the match when you're being aggressive.
Yeah, he said the stats back it up. He pointed to multiple matches last year. They had a lot of service errors. They still won. Swing from Katie Baird. Hard to believe it's just her second game of the season after missing 3. A good performance in Austin on Sunday. She's up to 6 more kills tonight. 6 kills for Baird, 6 for Kip, and 7 for Elia Rubin. Pringle serves. Over past Maresca. It's an ace.
That ace is exactly why Coach Hambly is okay with taking some service errors here and there. And again, depending on the error, you want it to go really deep. You don't want it to go right in the net if you're going to make an error.
Second ace tonight for Anna Pringle, the sophomore from La Jolla. Maresca. Kip from the back row, another kill. Kendall Kip.
You almost see Cammie Minor is going to her right side, but Kendall Kip is that aggressive from the right back position. Literally, Minor has 2 hitters on her right side. Incredible offense from Stanford.
Rice a bit off. They tried to go fast. Izzy Rollins feeding the middle, Caitlin Kenobi, but there was a double block ready for it.
And the Stanford block was ready, but also the coverage wasn't ready for the Owls. That's something that they have to do every single play.
9-6 Stanford in the third. Veska from the right pin, off the hands. Slow start for Veska. She's rounding into form now, 4 kills. Veska will play pro volleyball after graduation. That's really good volleyball from Stanford. Katie Baird, an angled swing, really good offense.
And Katie Baird this spring wanted to rework her approach and her snap, and she's done big things with it. She really snaps her whole body. Her arms been coming down hard, looking like a total package right now.
3-time All-American, first team All Pac-12 last season. Good serve from Cammie Minor. Maresca, second swing. Just out on the sideline.
And Maresca with the hitting error, but that's what you call the good hitting error. She was going for the line. She was being really aggressive. It was barely out. Keep going for that shot.
We saw Rice tip a lot against Louisiana last week in a surprising loss. They're swinging away tonight, leaving it all on the court against Stanford. Through the block for Kenobi after a really good pickup by Elena Ogilvie.
Good things happen when Izzy Rollins finds Kenobi, especially in that slide spot. Only having one blocker from Stanford on her shoulders, doing good things going off the hands.
Sahara Maresca back to serve. Really fast offense. McKenna Vicini, again, 5th best hitting percentage in Stanford history at .371 in her career. Katie Baird back to serve, a 4-point lead in set 3 for Stanford. Slide play, Kenobi. Kip is blocked. It's Kenobi. She went from the right pin on the slide to the left antenna for the block.
Hustle play for Kaylin Kenobi, literally chasing down, tracking that ball, and then timing, somehow getting her arms stopped, her legs in place, everything in system from that middle.
Tight pass, Courtney off the hands. Heavy swing just out from Elia Rubin.
Elia Rubin really likes that left back shot, and right now, McCardle's letting that ball go out. She's making sure her foot's on the line, reading that ball to the left. It's still a good placement.
Ricardo back to serve. Good fast offense. Up the middle, McKenna Vicini.
McKenna Vicini doing good things right now. Going with the hands of the Owls, going for that tool, being really aggressive at the front.
Coach Hambley said she understands who she is. Dynamic pins all around her. Portley. Off speed. Rubin.
That hit by Rubin might look careless. She was going for that fingertip touch of Rice. She was purposely wailing the ball out. Left to your screen, number 13. Look how high she hits the ball. She was hoping to hit the Rice fingertips, because if she did, there's no way they'd have tracked that ball down for the second touch.
Going for that high, flat shot off the top of the hands.
A team that's really good at that is Miami. They love going off the hands like that, and that's something that these elite programs do, is they want to not go for the air, but try and get you right at your fingertips, because there's no way you're getting that ball up.
Aggressive serve, slightly long, back to Stanford. Kendall Kip. Nice offense, 3-option pass from Maresca. Rawlings feeding Kostelecki.
Kostelecki getting a lot of action from Rawlings, showing that middle lock. Even though there's 2 blockers on her, still being confident, going through that split in the block.
Any offense wants to keep their setter right at the net, right in the middle of the court. Kip from the back row. Kip's foot was on the 10-foot line. Stanford out of sync. Slide play. Good pick up from Ogilvie. Rubin through the hands. Now Stanford's done a great job just limiting Rice's run. They have not had an extended run tonight. Second straight set, a 15-13 lead for Stanford at the break. Set 3 at Tudor Fieldhouse. Stanford leads 2-0 and a 15-13 lead at the break. Welcome back, Matt Peterson with Shelby Coppage. Shelby, 6 players from Stanford, preseason all Pac-12. Each of them returning from last year's Elite 8 team with some unfinished business. After the timeout, Rubin serves. Rawlings from Ruska. Maruska's blocked. Sammy Francis.
Nice block on Maruska by Francis. Maruska, though, doing a good job changing things up. A lot of tips in that rally, and she's the one brave enough to go for that hard swing against Stanford. And that's a beautiful block, but that shows how confident of a hitter she is on the pin.
8 blocks for Stanford, 3 for Sammy Francis. Veska's blocked. No cover behind her. Izzy Rawlings closest to it for Rice. And a timeout for Coach Volpe.
Suffocating stuff for the Rice Owls. A second block in a row for Stanford. Stanford just turning their defense up at the front on right now.
A tough stretch for Stanford. They will be tested 3rd straight game out of a string of 7 consecutive games against teams ranked in the preseason top 25. Up next for the Cardinal, Ohio State, Minnesota, and Nebraska beginning this weekend, then off to Louisville.
I was actually a little surprised to see how many Stanford fans are here. I talked to outside hitter, freshman Julia Blashoff, who I met calling the Under Armour game. She's an amazing person, said her parents came here. A lot of the parents went to the Austin game. Now here, Stanford, like Rice, has very supportive families.
Coach Hambly said this is a opportunity to come to Rice, strengthen the RPI, and face a very good program in the Rice Owls. Unanimous Pac-12 favorite. All 7 starters from last season's Elite 8 team. And again, the accolades go on and on for Stanford. They bring back the Pac-12 Player of the Year in Kip, the Setter of the Year in Minor, and the Libero of the Year in Elena Ogilvie. The other starter, not named preseason All Pac-12, is worthy. It's McKenna Vicini, would be considered the 7th starter, first one in for Stanford. A very good career in Palo Alto. Lola Ford in the match for the first time tonight. Immediately swinging at the right pitch. He wears 17 in gray. Maruska, Ogilvie got a hand on that. Stanford hustling, but it's a point for the Owls.
Owls taking advantage of their timeout, taking back the momentum from Stanford, especially on the pin. Really good play going on right now on the left side.
Taylor Johnson in to serve. Jenny Volpe going to the bench here in set 3, down 3 points. Slide play, Kenobi with another block. Career nights for the newcomer from SMU, Caitlin Kenobi.
Caitlin Kenobi bringing all the momentum to her team, especially on the block, doing a great job at connecting with team at Maruska. Their timing's there, the connection's there. Everything looking good at the front.
Kenobi, a season high 7 kills, plus a team high 4 blocks tonight. Right through the hands. Just a savvy player. Katie Baird took something off. Looked like she was showing Rice with her eyes. She was going to the right and put it right through the hands.
Smart play by Katie Baird, going with the hands, seeing Rice pull off just a little bit. She did a great job of reading that play.
Anna Pringle back to serve. Lola Ford. No touch. Another point for the Cardinals. She was trying to go high hands. (19:15 in the third). Stanford in front. Big swing, Sahara Maruska.
Keep beating Maruska. She's doing really good things, especially going for that line shot, going in between that seam in the backcourt. Really good aggressiveness in her swing.
5 kills on 18 swings for the senior Sahara Maruska. Darby Harris back to serve. She's from Wheaton, Illinois. Kip from the back row. It all starts with that first contact, gave her setter, Kemi Minor, 3 options.
Kendall Kip just so aggressive. And Rice honestly doing nothing wrong. In base stop, going for the ball. But when Stanford in system and goes to Kendall Kip, sometimes there's not much you can do.
Minor back to serve, 2016. Stanford in the third. Minor has an ace. 8 service aces for Stanford tonight. It leads to another Rice timeout. Coach Hambly speaking with us about Kemi Minor, his All-American setter, said Kemi's been trying to refine everything. Always been a good blocker, trying to become a great blocker. From a setting standpoint, to fire the ball back. As a setter, push the ball with tempo. Trying to become an elite server as well. Every part of her game coming up a level here in 2023.
And you can tell Kemi Minor has been working on sending the ball back, being really aggressive, like Kevin Hambly said, especially against Texas. There were a couple of sets where she would just throw that ball back. She's done it a little bit against Rice right now, but Rice is doing a really good job at reading her shoulders and getting the ball out.
One difference in this game, the service line, 8 aces for Stanford, 2 for Rice.
I've talked to a lot of coaches, and I've never heard a coach talk about service errors like I have Kevin Hambly. The fact that he gives his team so much freedom. He says that's something different he did in his days at Illinois. He's had to reinvent himself as a coach. He said, I'll probably reinvent myself again in 5 years. I hope I will. Really great coaches to learn from in this match.
And we also talked to him about being the road team, and a service error is different on the road because it may take away what could be a thundering kill and a momentum swinging kill for the home team. A service error is simply a quiet point for the home team. Kemi Minor. 3 double-doubles already this season. Maruska, heavy swing, and it's in the back corner.
Maruska will get the biggest kill and has the calmest face on the court, I swear. Look at this line shot. Look how high she reaches left of your screen. She literally drops her left shoulder and turns around her team ready for the next point.
Sixth kill from Maruska, 1 behind Caitlin Kenobi. Stanford challenging this call. Again, 2 challenges per match for each side. Every successful challenge, you don't lose one.
That ball looks like it might have been out from that shot. I thought it was in initially. This replay makes the ball from Maruska look out. Let's see, that one looks in. That view looks on the line. The one on the right side looks out. Doesn't matter what I think, from what I'm told. All right, we see. Alice got the ball.
Jenny Volpe talking with the official.
Oh, never mind.
Chad Klunk and Mary Blaylock, the referees tonight. As Stanford preparing to serve. Libero's going dig for dig. Ogilvy 14 for Stanford. Mia McCardell 13 for Rice.
Watching the liberos this match has been one of my favorite things so far. I also do like seeing Owls pick up their tempo, running their middles, going for those slides, something that Stanford likes to do. Really great matchup here. Our student section is not happy right now.
It is Stanford's points. Close call at the baseline, called out. And now Kemi Minor to serve. Stanford 3 points away from another sweep in Texas. Oh, that was miscommunication from Stanford after the overpass from Campbell Love.
Miscommunication you don't see often from Stanford, especially their all-star libero. Looks like they were looking at one another. Kemi Minor not able to call her off.
Sahara Maruska to serve. Had 22 kills against Colorado in the NCAA tournament last year. Kip, dug by McCardell. Maruska from the back row. Fast offense right through the hands. Stanford's 2 points away.
A really quick play from Stanford, again going for the hands across from them. Kenobi getting a little frustrated with her timing.
McKenny Bacchini, 8 kills on 12 swings. She's hitting .583 tonight. Katie Barrett service error.
And for Rice, McCardell wants to go back behind that line, go on a run, and still be aggressive, trying to get Stanford out of system.
Nia McCardell, the libero of the year in Conference USA last year, serves. Off the hands, picked up by Maruska. Courtley.
I like Danielle Courtley's aggressiveness here tonight. Look how hard she's swinging. And Stanford's block was there. They looked good, they were connected, but she went for that cross-cut shot. Great decision by her.
Courtley had a spell on the bench. She's a 3-rotation player right now. And now a lot of experience. Courtley, Kostelecki, Izzy Rawlings, McCardell, Maruska, and Darby Harris trying to lead the comeback. All 6 returnees from last year's team. Kip, good hands from Harris. Back row attack, Maruska. Rawlings with the block. The setter turns away, Elia Rubin.
Suffocating block for Rawlings, making sure her hands are pointed back into Stanford's side of the court. Being really strong with that timing.
8 blocks for Rice tonight. And that's a good answer from the Stanford Cardinal, Elia Rubin. Makes it match point for Stanford at 24-20.
Elia Rubin's that player where if you shut her down, she's going to take it personal. Demand that ball from her setter and come back for you, going for that line shot, perfect hit.
Elena Ogilvie, the Honolulu native, to serve on match point. Service error makes it 24-21. Izzy Rawlings, the senior setter, on match point for Stanford. And it's ended by Sammy Francis. Good swing from the middle and a productive road trip to Texas. Stanford wins at University of Texas and comes to Rice for a sweep of the Owls.
And Stanford just doing their game plan, serving hard at the Owls. Originally getting Rice out of system, but Rice responded and ran that tempo offense they wanted. Their middles, their outsides, their right sides, everything looked really good. Setter Izzy Rawlings looks very comfortable in her new starting role. Just not able to get past that Stanford block and Stanford defense.
Kemi Minor, All-American setter, 34 assists. She really got everyone involved. Francis, 5 kills. Baird, Bacchini, Kip with 8 each, and then Elia Rubin led Stanford with 9 kills.
And for Rice's hitters, they should be really proud right now. Caitlin Kenobi leading with 7, but 4 other players had 4 or 4 points, doing a good job at spreading the ball at the front tonight for the Owls.
Stanford continuing its stretch of 7 straight matches against preseason ranked foes. Rice will try and bounce back against Houston Christian on Friday. For Shelby Coppage, I'm Matt Peterson saying so long from Tudor Fieldhouse, where Stanford wins 3-0. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.